On this edition of Connect, we focus on the Family Service Agency of Marin, often referred to as a lifeline for Marin families. I'm Jerry Kay.
We were started in the 40s around World War II when families were moving into Marin to work on the shipbuilding industry. And a group of women at the time realized that these families had a lot of needs for support. They were away from their extended family and living in a new place and the stress of the war, and so they came together to be able to provide for some of the needs that these families had. And so we've continued that now 60-some years later. We still provide support, counseling, help for people that are struggling with various kinds of stressful events, some leading to depression, anxiety, all various kinds of problems that interfere.
Mental health is one of the areas that you work on. Give us a definition. What is mental health?
So some of the components that make up mental health are the ability to have relationships that are satisfying to both people, the ability to be flexible in responding to change. Change is a constant part of life, and we need to have a variety of ways of coping with change because the method that works best for one situation is not necessarily going to work best for another. So we need to have some flexibility in that. And we also need to be able to be aware of and be able to think about and talk about a whole range of different feeling experiences that we have. Positive emotions, negative emotions, and to really be aware of what's happening for us. If we're not aware of those feelings, then they turn into symptoms, physical symptoms, emotional symptoms.
Range of emotions. We also have valleys in our lives. We have mood swings. We have circumstances which change maybe the direction, the course of our lives. All of us experience that. At what point does our mental health become a serious impediment?
So the things that people need to look for are when the activities that they're usually able to engage in, they just find themselves unable to do or unable to do at the same level. So for example, if someone finds that they're chronically showing up for work late because they just can't get out of bed, or if they find that they're changing the activities that they usually would do because they're concerned about having a panic attack. They're concerned that their anxiety is just going to get the better of them. Or if they find that people around them are noticing, you know, you just don't seem to be yourself. Sleeping habits change, eating habits change, more conflict with family members, more conflict with friends, isolating, withdrawing, not finding that sense of pleasure in things that you usually find pleasurable. Part of it is the severity. I mean, if you find yourself staying in bed an extra half hour, maybe that's not such a big deal. If you find that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon before you're getting up, that's more serious. Or if you find that the level of anxiety that you're feeling is such that you're just not taking on the kinds of activities that you usually do. So severity is one aspect, and the duration is the other. How long has this been going on? You know, if it's a couple of days, if it's a week, you know you've had a stressful event, you figure, okay, it's going to take me a little while to adjust to that. If it goes on a couple weeks, if it goes on a month, and things just aren't really getting better, then I think people owe it to themselves really to get some help, because it's, you know, we all go through difficult times in life, but there really is a lot that we can do that can help people get through those times.
What's the most significant impediment to people seeking help? Is it affordability? Is it the inability to recognize a serious issue?
I think for some people it starts out as affordability. I think that some people have the misconception that, you know, seeing a psychotherapist and seeing someone whose work is going to be worthwhile to them is very expensive, and they may postpone calling because they have a mistaken idea about what it's going to require. I think there's also a lot of stigma that still exists in our society about what it means to ask for help, what it means to say, I'm struggling and I can't do it on my own.
I'm struck by the fact that there are kind of two parts to that issue. One is diagnosing a problem, and one is seeing the problem. So for example, when you have a physical condition, you've broken an arm, it's clear. I know something's wrong, you go, you get a diagnosis. How do you actually understand what the issue is and help people navigate through it?
Well, one way I think that people sometimes recognize that they're in trouble is when they compare how they're feeling now with how they felt at another time in their lives. So people can often look back and say, yeah, you know, a year ago, on a sunny day, I'd be jumping out of bed, I'd be heading to the trails, I'd be hiking for 2 hours, and I'd feel great. And now, you know, a year later, the sun's out, but I really don't feel like doing anything. So that's one way. Sometimes it actually is the people who care about us that are the ones that can bring it to our attention. And it's usually best if you are concerned about someone that you're close to, a family member, a friend, and you're seeing a change in them. It's oftentimes helpful to approach them from the standpoint of, I'm feeling worried about you. You know, not to, because it may be hard for someone to recognize and acknowledge that they're having a hard time. So if you start out with, there's something wrong with you, it's going to be hard for them to hear the message. But if you start out with, I'm concerned, I'm worried, this is what I see, you know, without judgment on it. Just, I notice that when we go out for dinner, you don't laugh at jokes anymore. When we go to a funny movie, you just kind of sit there. That's not like you. So what's going on? And really try to open the dialogue so that the person feels comfortable beginning to talk about it.
What's unique about the Family Service Agency versus looking in the telephone book and finding practitioners who provide similar services? What's unique about you?
Two things are unique about us. One is that we really provide services and have expertise in working with people across the entire age spectrum. You know, we see moms with 6-month-olds who are needing help, you know, adjusting to the birth of a new baby. We see people in their 70s and 80s who are, you know, adjusting to retirement and loss of a spouse or of close friends, change in living circumstance, and everything in between. So because we're a large agency that brings together a number of therapists with a number of areas of expertise, we can really cover that full range. The other thing that's unique about us is that because we bring together a number of therapists in one location, we can coordinate the treatment that a particular family might need in a way that's much easier and closer than if that same family were being seen by maybe 2 or 3 different practitioners in the community who are in different locations, who don't see each other, you know, regularly in the course of the week.
And then that leads to who can actually come here? Who do you serve? Who are the clients? Is it for anybody? Can I just pick up the phone and say, I think I need some help?
It pretty much is for anybody. We accept insurance you know, for people that have insurance. We accept Medi-Cal. We also charge a fee based on family income for people that don't have insurance or don't want to use their insurance. And so it really is, we do our best to make it affordable to anyone who wants to come in. And we don't have restrictions in terms of even of people needing to be residents of Marin County. If somebody works in Marin County and they live somewhere else, but it's convenient for them to come here, we can see them.
Well, Diane, thank you very much. This has been terrific.
Thank you.
To learn more about the Family Service Agency of Marin, visit them online or give them a call.